Magnus Carlsen, the top-ranked player in the world, is so skilled at the game of chess that he nearly always dominates his opponents, even if it occasionally takes him hours to do it. How does he do that? Here are some of Magnus's swift victories where he wiped out his opponents in a matter of seconds. In a matchup against the exceptionally strong Super Grandmaster Sergey Karjakin, who had a history of defeating almost everyone, Magnus remained unworried. With only 3 minutes left, Magnus confidently initiated the game by advancing his pawn to e4, prompting Sergey to respond with e5. The position quickly transitioned into the Roy Lopez opening, a familiar territory for Magnus. After a few developing moves, Magnus quickly grasped the situation, trading a knight and bishop for a knight, and knew what to do next, causing Sergey to contemplate his options. In a critical moment, before castling his own king, Magnus paused briefly. As the game progressed, Magnus made a daring attack on Sergey's knight, leading to a counterattack, and Magnus eventually retreated, aiming his pawns at Sergey's bishop. Sergey moved his knight to e6, but that prompted Magnus to launch a massive attack, drawing his pieces closer to Sergey's exposed king. The game intensified as Magnus seized the open file and exchanged several pieces. With Sergey taking more time to consider his moves, he realized he was in trouble. Magnus executed a queen g6 check, winning a pawn and initiating a rook exchange, putting Sergey's chances of victory in jeopardy. Finally, Magnus delivered the decisive blow by moving his pawn to f6, posing a checkmate threat after queen g7, ultimately defeating the Super Grandmaster Sergey in just under a minute, while still having nearly 2 minutes remaining on his watch. In a fierce battle between Magnus and Aspen Agustin, the opening moves involved Magnus advancing his pawn to g3 and Agustin responding with d5, fianchettoed his king's position. Magnus struck at the center with his pawn on e4. As the game progressed, both players developed their additional pieces. Magnus played c4, forcing Agustin to accept the pawn. Sensing an opportunity, Magnus positioned his queen and knight strategically, setting up a decisive attack on Agustin's king. Agustin's decision to accept the knight and allow Magnus to use his rook was a serious mistake. Magnus continued to press forward, placing his rook next to Agustin's king and trading pieces to bring his queen closer to the enemy king. After Agustin moved his knight to f6, he tried to counter Magnus's killer move by moving his rook to g6. However, Magnus skillfully forced trades and used his bishop to capture Agustin's pawn, eventually delivering a powerful checkmate. Magnus Carlsen demonstrated remarkable speed and skill in defeating a chess master in 18 seconds and subsequently aiming to beat Bill Gates, the richest man alive, in just 12 seconds. Bill Gates played e4 as his opening move with the white pieces, and Agustin responded with d5. Instead of capturing the piece, Gates protected his pawn with his bishop. Magnus then moved his knight to c6, and Bill followed suit with his knight to f3. Pawns were exchanged and Magnus's queen became active, while Gates's pieces seemed inactive. Gates made an unsuccessful attack on Magnus's queen, leading to his confusion. Unfortunately, Gates played the worst move in the position, allowing Magnus to capitalize on his mistakes and deliver a swift checkmate with a decisive blow involving bishop g3 and a knight sacrifice. In just 9 moves and under 12 seconds, Magnus impressively defeated the richest man on earth, Bill Gates. Magnus achieves an even more remarkable accomplishment as he swiftly checkmates his next famous opponent, the well-known explorer Lars Monson, who is also a strong chess player. Starting with the move e4, Magnus faces the Sicilian defense, c5, from Monson. Initiating an aggressive attack, Magnus uses his knight to fork Monson's pieces and skillfully brings his queen into the game after developing their starting pieces. When Monson counterattacks his queen, Magnus retreats and castles to avoid further complications. Pushing pawns towards Monson's king, Magnus launches a powerful attack. After Monson's hesitant response, Magnus maneuvers his knight to capture a pawn and subsequently exchanges knights, gaining an advantage. Monson faces difficulties due to Magnus's threatening rook and is forced to make defensive moves. Seizing an opportunity, Magnus captures Monson's queen, a blunder by Monson. Despite some time wasted by Monson, Magnus surrounds his king and promotes a pawn to a queen, leading to Monson's checkmate. Acknowledging Magnus's superior play, the players shake hands as the clock runs out on Monson. Now these fast victories of Magnus shows us how extraordinary he is. What do you think about his moves? Leave your answers in the comments section below. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. We'll see you guys soon.